Have you ever wondered why some people manage to build fortunes while others barely survive? There is a secret, crucial difference between those who achieve wealth and those who stagnate. If you don't understand this concept, the chances of becoming a millionaire are practically non-existent. Get ready, because what I'm about to tell you could change the way you see your financial trajectory forever. Imagine your life as a journey, where you are right now and where you want to be. Clearly defined points on the horizon. But between these 2 points, there is a gap, a space I call the performance gap. This gap represents the difference between where you are and where you want to be. And what you do to fill it determines whether you will be someone who just survives or someone who achieves financial freedom. Most people travel a path full of ups and downs, full of detours and obstacles that they can never completely overcome, resulting in years of effort without ever reaching the final goal. Some people may be able to achieve their goals in middle age, following a slightly more stable and linear trajectory, but even so, the path is long and arduous. However, there are those like me who manage to shorten this distance significantly. And to be completely honest, I believe the only reason I was able to cross that chasm so quickly was because I had no other choice. I was not a prodigy, nor did I possess unusual intelligence. I had no degrees or qualifications to support me in difficult times. Early on in my career, I was humiliated and underestimated by my first boss, which made me realize that the traditional 9-to-5 path was not for me. Faced with this situation, I made a promise to myself. I would build wealth as quickly as possible, whatever the cost. With this determination, I dove headfirst into everything that could help me close the performance gap. And thanks to this obsession, I reached millionaire status before I even turned 30. And if there's one lesson I want you to take away from this video, it's this. The amount of money you earn is directly linked to the value you deliver to the world. Simply put, the more significant the problems you can solve, the greater your financial reward, and the faster you will see that gap closing before your eyes. Now, let's get our hands dirty. I want you to start by creating what I like to call a dream board. This framework will help you align your passions, skills, and financial opportunities in a clear and visual way. Take a sheet of paper or open a digital document and divide it into 3 columns. In the first column, write down all the things you love to do, those activities that make you lose track of time. If I were doing this exercise, I would list things like testing cars, flying planes, exploring new places, and playing golf. But these are my passions. Yours may be completely different. Don't limit yourself. Put down everything that comes to mind, from hobbies to interests you've always wanted to explore. Now move on to the second column. Here, you will list your skills, the things you are really good at. Think about the skills you've developed over the years, whether through work experiences, personal projects, or even activities you master naturally. This may include skills such as writing texts, leading teams, creating strategies, cooking masterfully, building something from scratch, or producing high-quality videos. Anything you do well should be on this list. Finally, in the third column, write down the activities that people would be willing to pay good money for. This can vary greatly depending on the market you are in and current demands. Examples include specialized consultancy, building complex structures, designing innovative products, or even creating digital content that adds real value to the public. The objective here is to identify those areas where your passion and skills intersect with market demand, forming the ideal point for you to start building your journey towards financial success. With these 3 columns filled in, you will have an initial map that will guide you in the search for the perfect combination of passion, competence, and profitability. This is the first step to transforming your dreams into achievable goals and starting to follow a path that not only fulfills you, but also rewards you financially. One of the biggest traps that many people fall into when choosing the path they want to take in life is focusing on just one of the factors we mentioned. I'll give you some examples to illustrate how problematic this can be. Imagine you decide to pursue a career just because it's something you love to do. At first, this may seem incredible, but over time, if this job doesn't provide you with enough income, you may end up becoming demotivated. That initial passion can turn into frustration, and before you know it, you start to hate the thing that once brought you so much joy. That's what I call a real passion killer. Now, think about the scenario where you choose a profession because it's something you're really good at. It may initially give you a sense of security and accomplishment, but if, even though you are excellent at what you do, you are not being adequately rewarded for it, you can end up exhausting yourself physically and mentally. Working until exhaustion, without seeing the financial return you deserve, you end up stuck in a comfort zone. The progress is almost non-existent. And there is also the situation where someone chooses a career solely for the salary. First glance, it may seem like a smart decision. After all, who doesn't want to earn well? But the problem arises when you realize that you are sacrificing your happiness and well-being in exchange for that salary. Living a life where you feel miserable every day, regardless of how much you are earning, is not sustainable in the long run. That's why, if you want to not only accumulate wealth, but also live a full and happy life, you need to find something that is at the intersection of all these factors: passion, competence, and financial potential. Only when these three elements are aligned can you build a career that not only enriches you, but also brings lasting satisfaction and purpose. I call this the value zone. I was lucky to discover this zone early in my career, combining my passion for sales and audiovisual production with the growing demand for high-quality content. Upon realizing this opportunity, I decided to open my first photography studio. What started as a small venture, focused on offering personalized services, quickly expanded. Over time, the business grew so much that I ended up opening 5 studios, employing several people and consolidating a recognized brand in the market. The big mistake that many people make when thinking about business is trying to find an existing method of success and then forcing themselves to fit into it. They focus first on the how without understanding the why. Instead of defining what really motivates them and where their skills meet a market need, they try to shape their interests to fit a business model that may not be ideal for them. The key to success is, first and foremost, identifying your value zone. That point where your passions, skills, and market demand meet. Only after that, did you choose the right strategy, turn this value zone into a direct path to your goal. Now that you have a clear idea of how to find your own value zone, it's time to choose the right vehicle that will take you directly to the destination you want to reach. Let me ask you an intriguing question. If you had a choice, which would you prefer? Owning $1 million in assets or earning $1 million a year? It may seem like an easy choice, but think about it for a moment. In fact, most people would like to have both, wouldn't they? But to achieve this, you need to adopt 2 different approaches, 2 different vehicles. One that helps you generate active income, and another that allows you to invest that income in an intelligent way. Let's start with the vehicle that will help you actively earn money. Imagine that this vehicle is like a motorcycle, fast, agile, and capable of taking you directly to your goal. In this context, you have a few options at your disposal. You can opt for a product-based business, where you create and sell something tangible, like I did at the beginning of my journey. Or perhaps a content creation business, like producing videos on YouTube that can generate revenue through advertising, partnerships, and more. But my favorite, and what I consider the most powerful, is a service-based business. Now you might be wondering, why is a service-based business my favorite, especially when I also produce products and create content online? The answer may surprise you. It all comes down to one word: timing. And I'm not talking about market timing, that notion of entering at the right time to capitalize on a trend. I'm talking about timing your career, the ability to choose the right type of business, the right stage of your professional life. When you're starting out, often with limited resources, a service-based business offers the flexibility and low startup cost needed to gain traction quickly. This allows you to build a solid foundation before expanding into other types of businesses that may require more capital or time. When taking the first steps on your journey, your initial business choice should have the potential to generate around $100,000 per year. That's a realistic goal to start with, but remember that the venture that gets you to that starting point won't be the same one that catapults you into million. When we are starting out, resources are often limited, both in terms of money and time. Therefore, it makes much more sense to start with a service-based business, which requires a much smaller initial investment. The best of all is that you can start something like this simply, even using just a laptop in your spare time. So go back to your diagram, the one where you mapped out your passions, skills, and market opportunities. Reflect on what kind of service you can offer that aligns with your value zone. It could be something related to consultancy, coaching, graphic design, digital marketing, or any other area in which you are competent and there is a demand in the market. This will be the active vehicle that will help you generate income consistently. Now, when it comes to investing the money you earn, it's important to understand that this should be your passive vehicle. Many people make the mistake of treating investment as just another source of side income, with that mentality of looking for quick results. However, the reality is that investing is not about getting rich overnight. Investing is a strategic tool to make your money grow over time. If you do it right, you can set up your investments and practically forget about them, letting the power of compound interest and time work in your favor. The key is to understand that the true power of investing lies in its ability to generate sustainable, consistent growth over the long term. Choosing solid investments, diversifying your investments, and maintaining a long-term vision are the pillars that will help you transform your active income into lasting wealth. Therefore, think of investment not as an extra hustle, but as an essential strategy to expand and protect the wealth you work so hard to build. If you really want to achieve something meaningful, you will find a way to do it. If not, you will find an excuse to justify why you couldn't. This is a simple but powerful truth. So, if you're determined to close the performance gap and achieve your goals, the first thing you need to understand is the crucial difference between obstacles and excuses. Imagine this is your journey. Here you are, and there are your dreams. Between where you are now and where you want to be, there are a series of challenges, obstacles that seem to impede your progress. These obstacles are real, and overcoming them is the key to turning your dreams into reality. However, what separates those who achieve their goals from those who never move is the attitude they adopt when faced with these challenges. If you see obstacles as insurmountable barriers, it's easy to get lost in excuses, justifying to yourself why you can't move forward. But if you view these obstacles as steps to be overcome, each challenge becomes an opportunity for growth and learning. It's this mindset that allows you to keep moving forward, even when things get tough. Closing the performance gap requires you to face obstacles head-on, without allowing them to become excuses that paralyze you. After all, dreams don't come true alone. They require effort, resilience, and an unwavering willingness to face whatever stands in your way. When I look back on my younger years, I can't deny that life was full of challenges. From an early age, I faced difficulties that many would consider insurmountable. I was dyslexic, which made school a real battleground. Instead of receiving support, I was often labeled by my teachers as lazy or even stupid. I left school without the qualifications that could have given me a solid foundation for the future. And when I finally entered the job market, things didn't get better. I was bullied and underestimated by my first manager. These were the big obstacles that stood between me and my dreams, but I never allowed them to become excuses to give up. You may also be facing gigantic challenges in your life. Maybe it's health problems, financial difficulties, or even emotional issues. But if there's one thing I've learned, that you must turn these obstacles into your personal mission to overcome them, rather than allowing them to become the excuses that block your path. If you don't do this, these obstacles will end up turning into justifications, preventing you from achieving your goals and leaving your dreams always out of reach. Excuses, not obstacles themselves, are the main reason many people never manage to close the performance gap between where they are and where they would like to be. Whenever someone tells me they can't do something, I respond, I know you can't right now, but if you could, what would you do? This simple question shifts the focus from a mindset of impossibility, one of solution. If you are facing a challenge that seems impossible to overcome, try asking yourself the same question. Explore all the possibilities, think of different solutions, and write down each one. The next step is to put these ideas into practice. Many may not work, but the important thing is to persist. Keep trying, and in time, you will discover that the solution was there all along, waiting to be found by someone willing to not give up. If you already have some knowledge about investments, you probably know that the path from starting from zero to accumulating the first $100,000 is much more arduous than the path from $100,000 to reaching the first million. It is a process that requires effort, discipline, and often sacrifices. There's a reason for this. At first, your capital growth is slow. Each step seems like a big challenge, and the returns seem minimal. However, once you hit the 100K mark, something magical starts to happen. Power of compound interest really starts to work in your favor. Albert Einstein, one of the greatest geniuses who ever lived, supposedly called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. And he was right. Anyone who understands this concept has the ability to make money work for them. Those who don't understand end up paying dearly for this lack of knowledge. This is true not only in the financial context, but also when it comes to the accumulation of knowledge throughout life. Applying the concept of compound interest to your knowledge works in the same way. At first, learning new skills and acquiring information can seem like a slow and even frustrating process. But over time, as you continue to dedicate yourself to continuous learning, your knowledge begins to grow exponentially. Each new piece of information connects with the previous ones, creating a solid and increasingly valuable foundation. Just like with financial investing, those who understand and value the power of continuous learning end up reaping far greater rewards than those who stop investing in themselves. The reason most people fail to close the last part of the performance gap is simple. They stop learning as soon as they leave school. This is a big mistake, and I'll explain why. Those first few years of formal education provide only the foundations, the starting blocks of basic concepts and principles. For me, these blocks consisted of elementary English and math, fundamental skills, but just the beginning of a much longer journey. The key to continuing to grow and closing the performance gap is to never stop putting yourself in challenging situations. After I left school, I started working as an editor at a large advertising company. This experience was invaluable, as it taught me practical skills such as the art of persuading others to pay for my services. It was on the real-world battlefield that I truly began to expand my knowledge, applying what I had learned while also discovering new strategies and techniques. As you continue to expand your knowledge, you will begin to notice patterns and connections that were previously invisible. Each new piece of information builds on the previous one, creating an increasingly robust and valuable knowledge base. This continuous learning process is essential because true wisdom, the one that guides your decisions with confidence and clarity, can only be acquired over time and through experience. Today, every decision I make is supported by decades of continuous learning. If you don't build a solid foundation from the beginning, you can never experience the true power of compound knowledge. This leaves huge gaps in your understanding, which can eventually lead to serious errors and devastating failures. Closing this performance gap is not an easy process. It is demanding and often painful. But there is one truth you need to remember. If you are not willing to make sacrifices for your dream, then it is your dream that will end up being sacrificed. The path to success requires a continuous dedication to learning and adapting. And this is what will allow you to achieve your goals, even in the face of the greatest challenges. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the like button so you don't miss out on other content that will help you thrive financially. Your support is crucial for encouraging me to keep producing more. Thank you very much.